Hi, and welcome to this edition of B.E.P Talks, where we bring you extraordinary people. You get to meet them up close and personal. And the whole point of B.E.P Talks is for guests to share their beliefs, their experiences, their passions. B.E.P, B.E.P Talks. And we bring you guests from very, very diverse backgrounds, disciplines, areas of expertise, and all to help motivate, inspire, educate, sometimes entertain you, and certainly to provide you the opportunity to engage with our wonderful guests. And today is certainly no exception. So I want to, first of all, welcome today's B.E.P Talks guest, and it is Jessica Myers-Adams. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you so much.
I've been really excited to have you as a guest on B.E.P Talks. I've watched a lot of your videos. I've read so much about you. And I think that so much of what you do, so much of what you say you believe, and also what you've experienced, is an extremely important message to share with all persons on all things, because it comes down to relationships. And in my years, and what's kind of a general consensus, what people are most concerned about: health, wealth, and relationships. And not necessarily in that order for everybody, but certainly relationships, so important. And we're living in a time where relationships are maybe being stressed a little bit more than what we've seen. So that's why I'm so excited to have you as our guest today. Now,
yes, thank you.
You are a certified licensed social worker. You are a certified relationship coach. And I love your title. I love how you are known as the relationship visionary. That's a big title. That's a big reputation to have. And I assume with that comes a lot of certainly expertise and somewhat of responsibility. But let's make sure we're all talking about the same thing. Who are you as the relationship visionary? What is a visionary?
Yeah, well, and I'm going to get into that here shortly, but to give you the short answer, a visionary is someone who's able to tap into creativity and a higher level of thinking, specifically to look for the future of what can be. And so in relationships, it's really powerful to be a problem solver and to think forward.
I love that. So I recently read something about yesterday is over, tomorrow we have to live for and toward, and we have to take the opportunity to use this moment here and now to get ready for the future. So is that what I'm hearing? It's about moving forward. It's about looking perhaps better days ahead.
It is about creating the ideal of what you want and then striving to get that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to think of it.
And relationships, because you can't do it alone. Even if you could, how boring might life be if you were trying to just take this whole journey by yourself? So relationships, and they're all different types of relationships. Your specialty seems to be with couples.
No, it is, but I would, and I want to talk about this here in a little bit about how one person can make the biggest difference. It doesn't have to be that you and your partner are working on it. A relationship visionary is the one who's going to create the change for the relationship.
Oh, that's very interesting. So I always think at the heart of all relationships is good communications. Would you agree with that?
100%, yeah.
100%. But it takes one person then to take the first step, I guess, toward healing.
Yeah, and I certainly want to jump right in here if you want me to just get started and tell everyone really how they can make this biggest shift for their relationship.
Okay, let's do that then, because in addition to being a social worker, a licensed relationship coach, the relationship visionary, you are also an author and a speaker, and we really want you to share your message most directly with our audience. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn the B.E.P stage on for Jessica alone. Take it away, Jessica.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I want everyone to think about if they've heard the saying that wherever you go, there you are. And I want to add, wherever you go, you take the current view of your relationship with you. And being that relationships are the biggest predictor of happiness, it's really important that you have a good view of your relationship. But what do you do when you don't have a good view? Well, in 2011, I had just flown into Venice, Italy. You know, it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I had super expectations because I was on my honeymoon. And we were going to walk down the cobble streets. We were going to ride the gondola, view the sunset. But here I was sitting across from my wife with tears welling up in my eyes. This trip was turning out to be a disaster. You know, we couldn't sleep on the flight because you fly overnight when you go to Europe. The hotel wasn't ready when we got there. And me and my new wife just didn't know how to support each other. We had different ideas about what we should do at the time. We had to get lunch. We had to figure out how just to waste the time until we could get into the hotel. And here we are caught in a cycle of, or a whirlwind, I should say, of exhaustion, miscommunication, and unmet expectations. This isn't a brand new relationship. I mean, you know, not too long into it. And what it did was it made me start to wonder why we couldn't all just talk about things. You know, why does everything turn into why are you fighting me on everything? Because now today that's what I hear and that's what I heard that day. So really it is my mission, and it was my mission to figure this out, why we can't just talk about things. So I did discover how to deal with communication and how to deal with disappointment. So I think I said I couldn't wait to share this with you because I do know what it's like to be in the relationship pit. So I trust that while you're listening to this, you'll really value the ideas I'm going to give you. And so you might even take notes. I will send you, if we can, the slides to this, but you can take notes here. So I want to say that when I talk and present, I think my sessions are really unique because the main idea that I'm discussing is about what's required for you to take action. So I could share with you a lot of tools about communication and how to manage conflict. I have tons. But the problem is that when we try these strategies without the mind shift that I'm going to share with you, then we still have a specific outcome. And so what I want to help you with is I want to equip you with the knowledge that you can respond to anything that happens in your relationship, no matter what your partner, how they respond. So my goal in our really short time together is to get you motivated to take one action. And if what I say resonates with you and you want to make that decision to become a relationship visionary, that would be amazing because that's really what I'm hoping for. The challenges that you probably face in your relationship are pretty universal. You might have the ones that I had. You don't know how to communicate with one another without one of you shutting down or becoming reactionary. You might not know how to bring up tough subjects because you don't know where to start, and you really just don't feel appreciated in your relationship at times. And those are really hard things to deal with. And the opposite is true too, that we want to be able to talk about anything and we want to be loved and valued, right? So I have been practicing as a couples therapist since 2013. I trained with John Gottman and my personal mentor, Ellen Bader. And I wasn't sure why their amazing tools weren't working for me. And that's why I share today, because you could be going to therapy or you could be a therapist and still be struggling in your relationship. I kept experiencing more things like the one in Venice. And then I had an eye-opening experience that led me to an epiphany. It was really amazing when I made this one change. I found myself empathizing with the clients who were experiencing similar things in their relationship. And what I discovered was that there's one crucial piece that I was missing from my toolbox. You know, I was able to say what I wanted and I was able to communicate those things, but I was missing something. I wasn't making enough room for two perspectives in my relationship. You know, what I thought was that if my spouse didn't understand me, then she wasn't trying, or she really didn't care. And the other thing was, if she got what she wanted, then I didn't get what I wanted, or vice versa. And so it was from this experience that I had that the concept of becoming a visionary really came to light. And as I was saying earlier, a visionary is a person who's thinking forward. And when you think forward and you have creativity and resources to figure out problems, you can really start to make changes. So a visionary is about elevating your relationship to the next level. And I wanted to be clear, it doesn't mean that I abandoned myself and then I just became what my partner wanted, because that isn't really a visionary. A visionary takes both perspectives into consideration. So if you want to become one of these relationship visionaries, the amazing thing is that you tap into something that is bigger than you, and it's creating a new why. It's like you have a purpose for your relationship. And on those, if you think about a triangle, the purpose is the pinnacle. And it's, the purpose, I think, when we fall in love is to be loved and give love. And that's great when we start out. But then we start just wanting to be loved, and we lose sight of the part of being loving too. So a relationship visionary is abandoning that self-focused version of the relationship and tapping into something greater. And there's three parts. So let me give you the three parts. The first is that a visionary sees the bigger picture, right? So they see that there's two different perspectives. There's your perspective and there's my perspective. And we want to really understand, if I get what I want, then what do you lose? And if you get what you want, what do I lose? And so it's really seeing this separation of two different people. And from there, we can then start to generate ideas. We can start to think about, like, well, if we try your way, what happens over here, and vice versa. So the third thing is then we can solve problems. So the first thing, see the parts, generate some ideas, and then you can be equipped to solve the problems. Here's the biggest thing that I think I didn't know, is that trying to get your spouse to change doesn't work. I want you to imagine a stubborn old donkey tied to a cart. You have the destination in mind, and you know the best way to get there. The donkey has a mind of its own, and it doesn't like to be pushed around. You pull and you tug and you try to get that donkey to move forward, but the more you pull, the more the donkey just digs in. It's kind of like in our relationships. We teach our partner how to fend us off even better. But going back to the donkey, you might try offering a stick, with a carrot, dangling it just out of their reach, thinking it'll follow your lead. But the donkey can't be fooled, and they won't be manipulated. The more you try, the more that they just dig in. And this is true in relationships, because I see a lot of it. When you tell your partner how they need to be, they almost don't want to do it out of principle. And so instead, here's the alternative. Instead of pushing and pulling the donkey or trying to even trick it, a more successful approach is to understand what motivates the donkey. What are its likes and dislikes? And you start to work with those factors. Maybe donkeys actually really like a soothing word. They want honest communication. And of course, we put this to people, really, right? They want to be acknowledged, and they're happy to move in the direction that you want them to move. So hopefully the story just emphasizes, being empathetic, being understanding, and trying to collaborate when you're trying to motivate others rather than force, or manipulation. So the coolest thing I think I found, and I was, saying this earlier, it was surprising when we started, was that when you become a relationship visionary, you are empowered to make changes in the relationship, even if your partner is being a donkey, right? So I'm going to give you the three concepts to understand how you by yourself can make this big difference by empowering yourself to be a visionary. So the three, I guess I'm going to give in threes again because there's three more things here. The three things are your motivation, your self-understanding, and your other understanding. Let me explain each of these a little bit more. And if you'd like the image with this, I'm happy to send it out to everyone. So the first piece is the motivation or the approach you're taking. And so this is where I think the visionary concept is so powerful, because being a visionary means that your motivation is the best for both people. And so I don't think there's anything higher than that pinnacle of being able to tap into what's best for everybody. And so that's the motivation. The second piece, if you could think of these into three circles, is self-understanding. So what is it that I want when I'm representing myself? What does it mean if I lose this piece of it? What happens if I get it? So there's that self-understanding and being able to communicate that, because our partner's not a mind reader. And then the other piece is when we say what we think or feel, do we understand how it's being received by our spouse? Do they understand it? What happens when they think of us getting what we want, right? So there's that three pieces of having the right approach, being able to communicate what you think and feel, and then also thinking about what your partner thinks and feels. And when I work with couples, we have tools to improve these things, right? There's specific questions that you can ask that makes your partner want to share things, like instead of saying, what do you want me to do? Which I think is a terrible question. It sounds really nice, but it's terrible because it's about me. So a better question would be, what do you think would help you? What kinds of things would be valuable for you? So that's the first, tool would be to ask good questions. The second one is, I think there's two parts, right? The other differentiation or other awareness and the self-awareness. Self-awareness would be saying things so that I don't make my partner shut down, or I don't get that dreaded, why are you always trying to fight me response? Because that's the worst when you're just trying to communicate. So if you want to get better at these things, a visionary owns the problem. And this is another concept I think that makes the biggest difference, and it's directly, related to being a visionary, is that whenever I have a problem, even if it's my partner being messy, right, or my partner not understanding me, then I need to own that problem. I have a problem that I can't be understood right now. I have a problem with a messy kitchen. I have a problem with whatever that is. It's going to allow me to know myself better. If I own the problem, I have some empowerment to do something about it. If you're the problem, then it goes back to that stubborn donkey. It's like, I'm not going to be able to get you to do what I want you to do, right? So I want to reiterate the three concepts that I went over. One is the visionary choice, right? If you think about, there's the old tale of Sisyphus, and Sisyphus is the man who pushed the boulder up the mountain. And that's the equivalent of trying to get our partner to change, right? It's dangling the carrot in front of them. It's nagging and complaining. Those things work for a little bit. You may get the donkey to take a couple steps. You may get your partner to be trying to be a little bit more aware of their choices around where they put things, right? But it will go back to the way it was because your spouse is different than you. And that boulder's just going to run right over you, to be honest. It just crashes down because your partner isn't being their authentic self. Second piece is that if you work on the skills and you get the tools that I was talking about, being able to, there's some specific communication tools, right? Being able to say things that are not attacking and being able to ask good questions. If you use those tools with the right mindset, then it works better. Because I was using the tools, and I think you can get these tools in a lot of places, but if you don't have the right mindset, they don't work. Your communication becomes about expectation. Your questions become about expectation. Everything becomes about expectation, right? And so developing that mindset is key. And this whole process, is what I love about it, is that you are in effect becoming more mature in your love, right? Because you and your partner will feel like you can be your genuine self. I'm kind of a messy person. And so if you wanted me to change, I'll try and maybe I want to. Um, but what about this? What if my messiness and my not caring about things like you care about, what if that could make you relax a little bit if you took that on? Or what if you're a partner who is really organized? I could so benefit from you. In my own relationship, I'll say this is true, not in the messy, actually, we're both messy. I don't know if my wife would like me saying that, but what is true is my wife is very risk averse. And here I am, I just jump onto a call, I'm talking to people, I'm doing these things. And so I'm really spontaneous and I love to have a lot of fun and definitely take big risks. And so we're really polarity, we're different. And so I would get into this like whipping, the carrot out, come on, let's do this. And what now we have found is that we can really benefit each other because her way of being more risk averse, actually, when used properly, like asking me like questions like, well, how do you think this is going to work? Actually really helps me. And me asking questions about like, well, how scary would this be for you is really helpful too, right? So I hope this is helpful. In my relationship now, I think I can talk about things, and I don't often get the "Why are you trying to fight me?" Response. We can resolve things, and I think when you're stuck in the communication pit or the relationship pit, you can't resolve things because when one person says something, the other one shuts down. So I don't mean that I don't make sacrifices because I absolutely do, and I think my spouse does too. But we decide what's best for the team, right? And so I want to give you specific action to take after this work when we end here in just a minute or two. I have a recording of an exercise that I think can help you tap into your inner visionary. And along with that, if you click the link that we'll give you here, there's a handout on timeouts because you can't have a good conversation when you're too triggered. And just an explanation of both of those things. They're free. Just I want people to make the decision to be a relationship visionary. And so my hope for this talk was that each of you will consider tapping into something that's really meaningful. And if you do this, the guarantees that you are empowered to start making changes in your relationship and to really create what you're looking for. You might need help, but if you make this one shift, then it's then you can take those tools on. Without this mind shift, I would say that you'll have a head full of tools and a belly full of heartache. That's what happens when you try to do things without the mindset shift. On the other hand, when you decide to be a relationship visionary, you have an elevated relationship and you feel good in your heart about it. So I hope that you will make that consideration to be a relationship visionary. Yeah.
Jessica, oh my goodness. Words of wisdom. And, I'm a woman who's plagued with logic and practicality, and everything you said made so much sense. And in a relationship, it means obviously more than one person. It can't be more about one than the other. But what I love that you said is you have to own the problem. Recognize that one exists. And until you have that epiphany of sorts, you can't do anything about it because you're blind to the fact that something needs to be done about it. That is just, and mindset, oh my gosh, mindset, all about mindset, that it always can be changed. A couple of other things that I wanted to comment about that you said take notes. Hello, I took lots and lots of notes. And I will say I am blessed to be in a wonderful relationship with very open communication where we kind of complete each other's sentences. My husband and I were just very blessed that way, but I know so many other people who are not as blessed as that. I loved your analogy of the donkey. What happens if there's two donkeys? Is that like both just people being stubborn for the sake of being stubborn? And one person has to make the more mature choice, if you will, and decide to take that step forward?
Well, here's the thing. I think that we all have a part of us that is a donkey. Everyone. I have a part of me that's really mean and cruel. And I have a part of me that's lovely and nice, right? I mean, we all do. I would challenge you to think that way too, right? And so I think we all have the inner donkey because it's a universal trait. If you tell me what to do, then I don't want to do it. Like that's just our human nature, right? So I think that we all have that donkey. And I think that when I see new couples who are struggling, no one comes to a coach or something saying like, I'm here to work on me. I've seen, had experiences with hundreds of folks, and they're all in their inner donkey. And so it's like making the choice to be the one that's going to get the two of you moving. Right.
No, that makes all the sense. I also heard you use the word want more than once. At least one of you has to want to do this. And I think that's a beautiful thing, that it only takes the one. And little steps, right? Tiny little steps can get you anywhere you want to go. If you both want to be going in the same direction, you can, one step at a time. So much sense. We want people to be able to connect with you and be able to actually engage with you and with what you offer for your clients, and based on all of your wonderful experience as a relationship visionary yourself, you actually want to help create other visionaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not just a title that you've given yourself, it's kind of a goal that you propose to all of us out here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Wonderful.
If they want to get a hold of me, that's wonderful. But I hope that they will at least take we'll give them the link here in a minute then for the option to just get the free stuff. They can, of course, reach out to me, at my website at Couples Speak. It's with two S's, couplesspeak.com. But I want them to have the special link that I made just for your audience, because I want them to have the experience of, they could be a relationship visionary with this one choice. And so I lead them through just a 5-minute exercise that I think helps us to tap into that. And if they're not into that, they have the logical, like there's a PDF, just they can read some things as well. So I'd like everybody to get that thing.
Wonderful. Well, we'll be able to send that out. Why don't you just give that, we put here for Couples Speak, so that they can go and learn more about what you're doing with building genuine relationships, and how you as a counselor, as a mentor, as a coach, how you work with couples to help them regain the joy of their own personal relationship. What's the other link that you want to give us? Why don't you tell us what that is?
Okay. It's couplespeak.com. It's ready to transform your relationship. And that has the a hyphen in between each one. My tech guy, he just gave it to me that way, but ready-to-transform-your relationship.
Your relationship. Now, when they go here to Couples Speak, is there a link there to that, what you just gave us, for ready to transform your relationship?
No, because this one I don't actually give this resource to everyone. So if they want,
thank you so much.
The recording is special for you who want to become a relationship visionary. So
wonderful.
When we post this call, if we can post that, so they can just click on it, that'd be
wonderful. So ready to transform your relationship, with a hyphen between each word.
Correct.
Wonderful. And is that a .com? Is that its own website?
Yeah, it's .com. Yep, it's a website, but again, not everybody has access to that. So that's the
wonderful. Well, so generous of you to share this. I don't think there's too many people out there in the world that can't benefit from what you've said, because it's about wanting to do it. It's about caring about the person that you are sharing whatever the special relationship is. And it's not just couples in life. It can be, when you were speaking, I want to say sometimes it sounded like we almost expect more of our children than of each other as adults, because children, we just kind of give them a command, a demand, and expect them to do it. Whereas when we grow up, we become, like you said, when someone, as soon as someone says, do this, you kind of, whoa, wait a minute. You know, there's a little bit of a resistance there. I learned so much, and I so appreciate your taking the time to be our guest today. It's been an honor to have you. And again, here's the link. Please connect to Jessica Myers Adams. Know that you too can become a relationship visionary just for yourself and for the very special relationships that we hope all of you have in life, and that you want to keep just improving, getting better, and enjoying, truly, truly enjoying what those relationships are all about. So, so here at B.E.P Talks, we want to say thank you once again to Jessica, and to our viewers. Thank you as always. Please connect with Jessica. You can watch this video over and over again. It's worth listening to what she said, because you gave so much great advice. And so here at B.E.P Talks, you too can be a guest at B.E.P Talks. Please visit us at beptalks.com. For any feedback to me or to our studio here, you can write to info@beptalks.com. And until we meet again, until we talk again, which I hope is very soon, I wish that the best will always be yet to come for you. So thank you, and bye for now.